Yeah, on my birthday. Jury summons.
Oh, geez.
Everyone, committee meetings for Monday, October 16th. Couple of committee meetings left over from last week. We'll start off with County Services Committee.
Opening county services at 6 o'clock. There are no action items for the month of October. Anyone have anything for county services this evening? Make a motion to close.
I'll second it.
that.
All right, we are closed. Find the record.
That was the record. That was less than a minute. You done?
Yeah, Ed, just, I see Kyrus here. What's going on with the state withholding money? Is that still the game plan for the state?
They're not withholding money, they made some budget changes. You need to change the Medicaid cap or?
I think it was what?
The weekly share.
2.8 million maybe or something, or it might be,
Oh, they're not withholding, they're just charging us more.
Right.
It's a different way of looking at it.
they're charging us.
That's right.
Do explain.
Instead of us paying like 145, like 178.
1,000 a week.
So our statutory cap is pretty close to 10, a little over 10. We're getting closer to that. So we will get there in another year and a half.
So what do you mean the 175 per thousand, $175?
No, 1,000 per week.
Per week. 175,000 per week.
Per week.
And so what they're charging us?
Correct.
Correct.
A certain percentage. So the Medicaid program, we're well over 116 million per year. Our statutory cap is 10 and change million. So that 100 and whatever it is per week is getting us closer to the cap.
So we're paying 175,000 a week of county funds to fund healthcare for the poor.
Correct. At over 116 million of actual costs.
116 million. And how many users of that Medicaid are there in this county?
Precisely
Funded mandate,
14,302.
14,000 into 116 million.
Correct.
So why are then, well, so I'm still trying to understand that we're gonna have to come up with additional funds to fund this program.
Correct.
And you say it's because we're reaching our limit, so we have to fund more?
There's a statutory cap in legislation. There was a formula that started, this all goes back to 2005 and 2006, because we used to pay a certain percentage of the actual cost. The rolls were much less. As healthcare and Obamacare came in 2010, 2011, and 2013, the program across the nation expanded. We made a deal with NISAC going forward about what the cost should be, so they capped the costs. So when I say 10 million and change, that was the cap. So we could cover everybody, for argument's sake, in the county, but we're only gonna pay up to the cap.
So now the cap is not gonna be 10 million, it's gonna be what?
No, at this point.
They haven't changed the cap
The
yet.
cap is still the
Well, then
cap.
what
Just
were
our
you saying,
percentage.
what were you saying it's gonna cost us additionally in our county budget that much more, 2.8 million potentially more?
Because the pieces, there was two EF maps that I've spoken about before. There was a COVID EF map and a regular EF map. So we got enhanced rates on every covered life that happened. The state was sharing that with the county. They're no longer sharing those dollars.
So if they're keeping all those dollars,
So that's what we've been arguing in Albany, that they're keeping the additional dollars. That's why we're closer to the cap.
okay?
isn't this a state mandate
Correct.
that says we have to provide these services?
Correct.
Is it a state mandate or federal? I thought Medicaid was federal.
So Medicaid is a federal program. The states have to accept it. The state of New York has accepted it, and they provide all the services.
State also approves the enhanced version.
So that's basically pass-through money from the federal government to the state to go trickle out to the counties, correct?
So the
That
EF
doesn't
maps.
trickle out anymore.
Yeah, it's trickling in.
So the EF maps, the expanded dollars that was. And the feds actually came and visited us probably 5 years ago. And they asked, were we getting the additional dollars, which we were at that point. So, but, you know, the state's keeping the additional dollars.
Stopped in 16, 17.
But what's the state's reason for keeping the extra dollars?
Because as you've noticed, there's many more covered lives, so the state has more money that they need to pay, so they're keeping the additional dollars. So we're well over 116 million, so we're paying 10. That's still, you're not gonna wanna hear this, it's still, that share works out better than the original share of when the Medicaid program was envisioned.
So the Medicaid funds are provided to the state of 116 million that the federal government hands to the state government.
No, the 116 million is what Greene County goes through at least.
Right, so that's going to the state, and then the state is handing you 116 million, which your share, our county share is 10 million.
No, okay, so this becomes very complicated, it'll probably take about 8 hours to explain. Every category is completely different. So for long-term care, which is the most expensive, probably about $100,000 a case easily at this point, I'm talking about nursing home coverage. We're responsible in the old methodology to pay 25%. The new deal that we took in 2005 and 2006 completely changed that. So it behooved us, we saved money. When you take a look at the actual costs and the money, we're still millions and millions of dollars ahead.
So the
That's why the
federal
state really
government,
accelerated taking the monies back.
so the federal government pays 153,000, we're only paying 10.
No. Okay.
I mean, million,
No,
153
No,
million.
I'm sorry. You know, this would really take a major presentation. There's federal share, state share, and local share. And they're different in every single program we have. We have community care, we have institutional care, we have emergency care. The state of New York has made this the most complicated program across the nation, as you can only imagine.
But we're far ahead.
We're far ahead. Believe it or not, we're still further ahead with the methodology that we took.
Okay.
That NICEAG spearheaded years ago. It worked out better. We're not even near what the real costs are.
Okay.
But
That being
yes,
said, our share.
Yeah, but where's the two-
Call it real cost down the road all you
Our
want.
share is going
The real
up
cost
1 year
is
to the
going-
next.
The real cost is going up 2.8 million on our county taxpayers.
you're correct.
The county's not mandating this crap. The state's mandating, or the federal government mandates. Let them pay for it.
Okay, and Sean and I did cartwheels at the Capitol, and we yelled and screamed.
Obviously, that's not working.
I'd like to see that.
But it was a pretty lousy cartwheel on my part.
I bet.
10 years ago, I would have nailed it. The Russian judge gave you 9.2.
I mean, what do we do? So what are counties gonna do? Just stick their head in the sand and take it?
Okay, so this was one of the major resolutions that the Board of Directors for NICEAG took, and they're fighting it again. It's every meeting, it's lots of time, it's lots of energy, and.
Very contentious
We didn't do
last
well
year's budget.
with the ballots, yeah. It was actually, it was very ugly because we felt the governor's office lied to us, because what was presented to us and what was in the budget was two different things. And the budget it was gonna be a phase-in. When we got the letters, the weekly shares, all of a sudden I was blown out of the water. It was like, this is effective, and the date was much sooner than what we even anticipated.
So the 2.8 million, we have no control over how it gets spent, but it's our money. We have no control over currently 10 million.
No.
Right, that's spent, county taxes,
The
county
rates-
funded.
The rates are set per program. And upon application, staff gauges what hole they fall into.
But overall, how much does the county contribute to fund this program?
We're approaching $10 million.
$10 million.
So $10 million. So now it might be 12.8 million.
Well, it'll move. It'll
If
go up, yeah.
if the cap falls, it'll go higher.
Right.
So out of our budget, county taxpayers are paying an additional $2.8 million.
It'll go up an estimated 2.8 based upon the client base that we have today.
Out of our general appropriation. money.
Correct.
I have a question. Is that based in whole or in part on that long-term care part of the equation? Like if that number were to drop as our population age or get younger, whatever it is. Is that a constant, that 10 million?
Yes. The cap's been constant for years. We haven't paid the cap because of the EF.
We haven't exceeded the cap
COVID,
because
the
of the
additional EF map.
So of the money that the county spends, do we have any say with that money, what these people who are receiving the services can actually get?
No, it's healthcare.
So wait, Medicaid for the healthcare for the poor, what is it they're entitled to? Are they entitled to everything that someone who's working and is paying their own insurance, health insurance? They're entitled to all of this, huh? Nice,
That's right.
nice.
This will cheer you up. There's only 2 states in the United States that are dumping this on counties.
California and New York.
I don't know if that one's California, but the other 48 states, the states take care of this and don't dump any of the costs on counties.
I can't believe the productive people keep putting up with this.
So there was nothing on the agenda, but I'm so glad I.
Sorry about that, but
I think the people need to hear that.
28 million ain't
It's going up another-
$2,800.
Right, and that's affecting our county budget.
And it'll probably go up again next year, or 25.
So they'll just sort of.
It's gonna take one way or
So how does it?
They'll make other changes.
2.8 of it is.
They still go 6 million increase in what?
Well, yeah, but where
On
else?
payroll?
But where else?
Pay raises.
All right, we'll amend our adjournment of the county service to 6:12 p.m. Unless if everybody's good with that.
Thank you, Trevor.
Let's open public works at 6:12. Are we superintendent's report, please? Skip. That's something, we'll talk.
Wrapping up some of the projects that we've had over this past summer, County 83 culvert pedestrian bridge in the town of Hunter. That is expected to be open in the second week in November. So the structure is in place and we just have to finalize some of the paving and some of the other miscellaneous work. County Route 40, 61, and County Route 6 are in the design phase and we're working on those. Our Bridge New York projects that were ongoing, Timberlake and Bloomer Road, both of those as well should be opened in the next couple of weeks. Timberlake was actually paved today, so that structure should be open shortly. Bloomer Road, there was slight delays, but that's expected to be open to traffic the second week in November. County Route 20 and Platte Clove Road bridges, we're still developing the RFPs for those and submitting it out to our engineers. County Route 3 culvert over the Burnell Creek in Halkett, that is, we are going to be awarding that next month. County Route 2, the locally funded project culvert in the town of Lexington, that is completed. Contractor completed that work, I believe, last week or the week after. It was open to traffic, and I think he did a fantastic job. I'll provide pictures, but the contractor was Advanced Enterprise. The property owners are extremely happy. The quarry that has been using that road extensively, they're happy with the work that we've done there. So that's a successful project wrapped up. County Route 1 culvert in Halkett is in final design. We're expected to do that project next year. That one, as well as County 23C culvert in the town of Jewett. That's right in front of the actual town of Jewett municipal building. County 67 is in preliminary design, and we are putting together the RFP for the County 61 road slide in Baltimore. Some of the things that we've been doing, we actually implemented CDL training for our new employees that don't have a CDL. That's actually going really well. We're doing it up in Ashland. We actually were told that even by the end of this month, early next month, they'll be ready to take their road test. So that's a huge,
Wow.
absolutely. So they should be ready for plowing. We still have to provide them with plow training, but that's a huge bonus for us. I was expecting this to take much longer than what it is, but the 3 individuals that are taking the CDL training are doing extremely well, and they have expectations to take that road test, which it's gonna help us tremendously this winter. Solid waste, Catskill Transfer Station residential drop-off area was on the agenda. We took it off. So we're gonna set up a workshop for that, so we can discuss some of the design elements that we're expecting to do and costs associated with that. Something that we definitely have to discuss, we mentioned it previously at other meetings, but the purchasing of auction vehicles and equipment. It's something that we missed out on. There was a Greene. Greene are extremely expensive. A brand new one costs anywhere from $450 to $500,000 each. On state auctions and auctions, you can get a very good deal on them. We had one that we were expecting not to be purchased, but unfortunately, the last day of the auction, it was purchased. We have no avenue to bid on this with our procurement policy. So I'd like to discuss further at some point how we can go about purchasing items off auction. The towns do it successfully. Actually, Town of Carroll bought 2 trucks on auction. I'm not sure how they did it, but that's something that I'd like to move forward with some sort of discussion with the board on that.
Well, the auction's controlled by the state.
Correct, but so according to our procurement policy.
Yeah, we don't have the ability to participate.
Correct. The
We need
auctions
to
come
amend our
out.
administrative manual.
All right, let's amend it.
There's different time periods that the state does auctions, towns do auctions.
I mean, it's at least a month, right?
What's that?
It's at least a month.
They're on
When
the
they come
auction,
out.
Right.
yeah, for a
So
month
you
on the
could
computer.
come to us and say, I want a cap that I can bid on.
And that's something that, yes, we need to, some court, we sent our mechanic up there to take a look at the grade all. It was actually, there was some minor issues that we can repair. We were in discussions with the city to, if it wasn't purchased at their minimum amount, we were gonna negotiate with them, because we can do that after auction, but there was it was sold for over minimum, so.
But you do have the ability to come ahead of time.
Correct,
and say,
but
we want something. But it happened so fast, you didn't
how
have that.
do I, I guess that's the question, is there a maximum amount that we can go up to?
Well, what did that final bid go for? What was the final bid?
The
on?
minimum amount that they was 40,000, went for 42.
Where'd it come from?
What's that?
Where did it come from?
Saratoga?
Saratoga.
See, it's almost, like you say, you almost have to, with like a week left.
Usually
Well, the
those,
bidding's gonna get the busiest,
At
right
the last
there.
day.
Yeah.
it's the last day, and not even when we do our auctions, the last day is the major day, right? Nobody really pays attention until the last day, and they try to get the last one,
Right.
and that's unfortunately so even if I did have the ability to bid on it, what can I go up to? What would be the, on a certain, and every piece of equipment or truck would have to have some sort of a
Cap.
right.
So if a person, say the Saratoga had a minimum bid on it, could you talk with them?
And we did.
And then they would withdraw
They
item?
can't, once
They
it's on.
can't withdraw
They
it?
can't withdraw it. Once it's on the auction, they can't withdraw it.
Because the
And
auctioneer gets a percentage of the sales,
Right.
so.
and they signed a contract with the auctioneer, so they have,
No
they're
different than multiple listing
obligated.
service,
to-
you know, once you list with the real estate agent, you're in.
Right. Now, they could have rejected it. But then,
Do we have a timeline for the Catskill transfer station?
or the workshop, I'm hoping to get the workshop.
Oh, right. It just seems like we've been talking about it for a long time and now it's pulled off.
We've been talking about the need to redo it, we didn't really speak about the dollar amount, that was my concern.
Yeah.
It's a big, right?
So
But this is
basically though,
something
when you send out those drawings, via email, that's pretty much,
That's where we sit
Design.
today.
Yeah,
that's where we sit today.
Unless we meet and, we think that, this angle isn't right on this turn or.
Gotcha.
But I wasn't so much concerned with the design as I was, that I didn't think we really had talked extensively about a $2+ million project. That was my concern.
And there's definitely avenues of saving money. This Justice Center that's being built, a lot of this excess material that's being excavated from it could save us $250,000 on the Catskill residential drop-off area. There's definitely, that's a huge savings that we could capitalize on with the Justice Center being built. So there's definitely avenues, and during the workshop, I can discuss what our,
I
how
think
many
if we
people
can look
use the
for some,
residential drop-off area, what's,
I think if we can look for some of those savings, that would be great, especially if, if you can use something that we're taking out of the ground for the justice.
That's not a whole different tonight.
And then I think it needs to be a priority because I know that there's so many people that use it, not just from Catskill, but from Athens as well that come down.
I agree that it's a safety issue.
It's it's been a safety issue for a very long time.
Do you guys keep track of how many people have go through that?
as of today, almost 30,000,
Right.
just the Catskill residential drop-off area
Since January 1st.
since January 1st. There's total in Catskill over 60,000. But that's, when I say 30,000, that's only what we can count as far as transactions. That doesn't,
So that's the sale of the 13-gallon bag.
right, that's not somebody that wants
I
to
don't
go
think
there
you're
and
right.
just
But
recycle.
when you come in with your tote and you dump, we don't keep track of it.
Right, like
There's no way to
recycling
keep
is
track of
free.
it.
Right.
The composting.
I don't think they're all Catskill residents, so that's my point. I think
What's that?
I don't think they're all Catskill residents either. I think that's part of it.
I think there's a lot of people that
Right.
seem to have plates that aren't New York State. They come from Columbia County. They come across the bridge before they get on the thruway and go north or south.
Could be homeowners, could be
A lot of them,
Airbnbers, could be
absolutely.
anything.
They come from all different directions. We don't keep
I think a
track of
big
that.
chunk are Catskill and Athens, but
Right.
I think we're getting.
I hope so, yes. I mean, that's.
Yeah, if we can get to a decision here, or at least get everybody on the same page with this, it shouldn't put us back more than a month, which isn't really gonna change the construction.
Yeah, no, I-
much anyway.
Right, it's,
We should act quickly is my.
a month is certainly not gonna change we wouldn't be able to break ground for a while anyways.
Right.
Ideally, we don't want to start, there's a lot of concrete in this. We don't want to be pouring concrete in the middle of winter.
Right. No, get everything in a row.
Okay.
Reach out to Mr. Beaton, see if he's ready with his trailer.
Moving on to the post action items. Number one, authorizing the chairman of the Greene County Legislature to assign the Early Childhood Learning Center, ECLC, lease agreement to Community Development Institute Head Start, CDIHS.
Lavera?
Lennon, and Lennon, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. Number two, awarding bid refuse removal for 2024. Randall. And I'll second, all in favor?
Aye.
Handle it. Like, second, oh, like did, I'm sorry, I didn't hear. Number three, authorizing the county highway and solid waste superintendent to appoint CDM Smith as consultant for engineering design service for the county Route 6 Bridge over West Hill, bid 3-20125-0, Town of Lexington, pin 1762.64. Leg. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. Anything else to bring before Public Works? Motion to close. Motion to close by Levin, second by Candle. We are closed.
Okay. I'd like to open Economic Development and Tourism Committee at 6:25. And Warren is here with us tonight. He'd like to have a couple words.
Sure. I put in everybody's mailbox this flyer today. It's the municipal training for local government officials. The full seminar is at the Professional Academic Center on October 26th at Greene. Every year we do 2 of these. We sponsor it with Columbia County Planning Department and the Department of State. This helps all of the local municipal officials get all of their training certificates that's required. So it's online registration. It's October 26th. Everybody has a flyer. So please help us distribute this. It's been actually mailed and emailed to all of the town supervisors and clerks as well. There's 5 items on economic development tonight. 3 of them are on tourism, which are done annually. Those are pretty much pro forma. The other 2 is the award of the bid for the Cahotate capital project. And the other one is submission of a US EPA agency coalition assessment grant. And James is here to either talk about that or to answer any questions. And I can do the same on the Cahotate. If you want to hear the elements again, I'm happy to walk you through it. Otherwise, the resolution has all 4 of the work packages to give the award to.
Warren?
Yep.
Okay, we have 5 proposed action items. Number 1 is awarding bid and authorizing contracts for Cahotate Reserve amending capital project 132. Handle, True, Lure, and True.
I have a question
Yes.
for Warren. The additional 554,000. Does B&L receive then whatever their percentage is of the 554,000 also?
So the additional cost has to do with the bids came in higher.
I know, but the overall
But-
project goes from so-and-so to
Right.
this amount, so then does that
B&L
company,
B&L has a fixed price or with a scope signed for that work,
a fixed price or a percentage price?
a fixed price.
And what's that price?
It's the percentage shifts for the contingencies.
I thought it was all, they get all percentage rate,
Not
those are
all of them,
percentages.
since we have B&L on our roster and we use them for a lot of projects. We have a scope of services with them for preparing the bid documents, doing construction administration, and it's a fixed fee.
Sure, because I just want to make sure that because the increase, they're telling us we should approve all these low grade bids. And I want to make damn sure that they do not receive the higher percentage now, the higher dollar amount, because it's a percentage of the overall project.
Theirs is fixed, and so the construction is 1.1 million. The soft cost for B&L's fee is 78,000, and the contingency is about 60,000. So it's a $1.3 million project. And you can see by the bids that we received, because it is a long way from 385. So it drives the general construction cost for all the road work and all of the electric work to dig the trench, put in the concrete.
Anyone think it'd be better just to put a building close to the road?
If we could go back 20 plus years, then I think that might have been a good idea. But since it's a field station and used by the college, it pretty much needs to be right at the water.
And Columbia County hasn't agreed to contribute any money to this that benefits students from both counties.
We pay for the college, and as Columbia does, and we benefit from this one. There is no special capital project or other source of revenue for the college to put in.
Who gets keys to the building? Just the college?
We have a lease agreement with the college to use it, and I will say they're the primary beneficiary of this improvement. And it's been designed around what some of their needs are, but soil and water can use it, and times outside when the college uses it, we can put together a schedule of other people to use it. Now, when you go in there, it's set up like a laboratory, and it's got equipment there, and it's something where whoever uses it needs to be responsible, where they're not gonna go in and damage it.
They've
It's a
actually,
pretty specialized.
yeah, they've let our school districts go also at free of charge. The college has a professor there and leads programs for the students.
Matt, did we ever get a number on how many students use this from the college, this specific class?
I don't know, but I know Catskill elementary, middle school, and high school students have all used it in the last 2 years, free of charge. And the college provides the professor there to lead the program. So I know it's getting other uses besides college students.
And one of the design objectives was to extend the seasonality and the usage of it as well. Because right now, it's pretty much rustic, and it'll have heat and sanitary and well and electricity. So it'll be what's considered a modern functioning building now, and part of the cost is to bring a rustic building up to meet the state code, the sanitary code, the health code, the building code, of course, drives a lot of these costs. So assuming this gets approved, we have contracts, payment bonds, insurance, building permit, sign off on DEC and DOH. So there's a lot of things to pull together in the next month before we do the notice of award to the contractor. All the contractors are ready to go, and they've actually been in the building the last couple of days to make sure that they can hit the ground running. But with all of these capital projects, there's still a lot of work before we can hand the keys over to them.
And soil and water is contributing quite a bit to this.
Yes.
400,000,
Correct. Yep.
500,000?
400.
400?
Yep. And I spoke
That's
to-
in hand, is the money in hand from Michelle Hinchy?
We're waiting for the grant disbursement agreement to be approved by the Attorney General and the Comptroller's office. Everything's been in for months. I've been on Hinchy's office and making calls to the state. Before we give notice to proceed, I'd like to have that GDA in hand.
That DASNY,
Yes, and that's why it's
that's a 2-year
DASNY.
process.
DASNY takes forever.
Okay, any more discussion on that? If not, can I have a motion to move it, please? We did that.
We have Candle True Bloomer.
Yeah, okay. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Suppose.
Mike's opposed? That's passed. Number 2, authorizing submission of U.S. Environmental Protection Agency Coalition Assessment Grant.
Linda, I have a question on this. I mean,
I need a motion
I'll move it.
and a second for discussion. Hoover Handle?
where are we going with this? I mean, I'm reading it. Maybe I'm missing something as far as the comprehension. I mean, for $1 million, and what are the wide variety of properties? I mean, if we're gonna develop things economically, where are we coming up with this pie in the sky property? And anybody that develops it anyway, you gotta fall through seeker. And if they don't meet certain criteria, if it's contaminated, then it's up to the property owner or whomever to clean it. It seems like a very good waste of $1 million to me.
Let's let James talk about that, but from our perspective, infrastructure and inventory of sites is one of our biggest challenges in the county. The more that we can work with private landowners to identify challenges that they have to handle contamination on their property, if we can use federal taxpayer money to help us get a landowner ready to get that property for sale or to get it as an inventory for economic development, that adds to our inventory of sites. And we try to line up developers with sites, and we need more sites. That's the quick analysis. It doesn't pay for infrastructure, it pays for the assessment and analysis of those sites.
It's just paying for professional services. That's all it's paying for. It's not doing anything with shovels in the ground,
Not yet.
remediating contaminated sites, not doing anything that.
It's the
Just-
shovel-ready aspect of it. But James has been working on this with Columbia County, and there's a story behind that, because we submitted this a year ago and it wasn't funded. So now it's been repackaged based on comments from the EPA. So we're working with Columbia County and some local communities that the federal government has identified as, what's it called?
Environmental justice areas.
Environmental justice areas.
Not just sounds like,
Not DEI.
so if you're not,
but-
if you're not a good steward of your land and you've been contaminating it, now you're not, we're going to the taxpayers, or now you're just giving the government more reason to trespass on your personal property to make sure it's eligible to sell. Is this what I'm?
None of these projects can take place unless the private landowner is willing to work with us on assessing that site for development and whether there's any potential.
We should already have a catalog of any brown sites in Greene County.
They're not just Superfund. These are all sorts of smaller.
You'd be
really more
surprised how many
smaller
gas stations there were around here that sprung up overnight and disappeared, and there's tanks and stuff.
Thanks in the ground.
This will actually help the landowner be able to have grants and everything else to them. So am I wrong?
Yeah.
So this actually opens another door to have economic success in Greene County. It's not like it's money being wasted. This is the first step to help people sell money or sell property.
What would be better, to spend $1 million on people telling you, well, you gotta clean up those oil tanks, or giving you the money to clean up the oil tanks?
Yeah, but you know how much money it is to clean up an oil tank? It's a lot of money. So if these people get the ability to say, look, I did the study, I got everything, the engineering costs. Can I get a grant from the federal government or something? That's how you get it. That's how you get it done. To clean up these messes is not cheap. And this is the first step to help the people in Greene County make their property more viable.
Why don't we let James speak about it, because he's
Yeah.
so knowledgeable. He can share that knowledge with all of us, and then we
Go,
all know
James.
what we're talking
You're
about.
up.
The biggest value add for this whole program is that it allows us to understand what needs to get done to remediate the site. So there's no direct shovel in the ground with this money, but it allows us to take an educated approach to look at it with strategy to say, we know that there's 4 tanks in the ground. This is how much we're gonna be able to pull them up, because when we do take advantage of further taxpayer funded money down the road to remove those tanks, we're doing it as efficiently as possible. So we're not getting more down the road to fix problems that we didn't know existed because we didn't do this program. So it's important for us to, biggest value add in any sort of site attraction, if we're trying to get developers on board, is mitigate the unknowns. And if a site developer comes in and looks at a 400-acre site that we don't know anything about, the chances of them deciding to purchase the property, do something productive with it, and put it back on the tax rolls, create jobs, create housing opportunities, they need to know what went on the site with prior industrial uses. How we can build a roadmap to mitigate the environmental impact. So this is very much the first door to open to allow us to take advantage of different programs down the road and build a roadmap of the sites. But as Warren said, the resolution talks about bringing in Columbia County as well as the Hunter Foundation. So $1 million is spread across both counties. And it's focused with the Hunter Foundation focusing on the town of Hunter, Greene County covers the rest of the county, and then Columbia County can also add on. So when we applied for this last year, our 2 main areas were there wasn't enough attention to environmental justice area, and there wasn't enough details on it, administrative capacity. We're achieving both of those with incorporating the town of justice, the town of Hunter, which by itself is an environmental justice area, and also bringing in Columbia County to help the administrative. So based on what our debrief was, we're providing solutions for it. We feel confident that $1 million is enough to go.
And there's no county match, there's no financial contribution required by the county.
What is the Hunter Foundation involved? Why isn't it just Columbia and Greene counties as counties applying for this? We have to apply for this. Hunter Foundation can't apply for it, correct?
The structure of it is that there has to be a municipally sponsored BPA. So that would be Greene County.
Greene County and Columbia County.
Columbia County, we're taking up the CDBC, which is private 501. You can only have one lead entity for this, and you can have up to 4 non-lead members, you have to have at least 2. So we need to hunt down 2 other non-public private organizations. There's this list of what deems you eligible as a non-lead member.
So these funds could therefore then possibly go to the Hunter Foundation to do what? Do these assessments?
In the town of Hunter, or wherever catchment area they're gonna own.
And what's their expertise?
That the Hunter Foundation,
What's their expertise to find oil tanks and this?
No, they're an economic development engine in the town of Hunter that's trying to promote sale and profitability of properties and development. So they would use this as a tool to make their properties more valuable to people who come in to buy, to resell, or develop.
I won't minimize their role and their expertise, but these grant applications require that they're competitive in the scoring to get points. They are an environmental justice community that scores well, and that's what the EPA advised James, that you want to get your score up and be competitive, then get $1 million. These are the things that you should be looking at.
Maybe that's why there's no development taking place in Hunter, because it's an environmental justice people center or whatever, and people don't want to be bothered with the nonsense that goes on with that. Maybe that's the reason there's not development taking place.
Have them on the river too.
Again, another reason. No, your environmental justice, yeah, people walk away from that. You can't deny that either, that developers like, no, thank you, we'll go somewhere else.
I don't think there's a lack of development on the mountaintop.
Well, is there any requirement on a future developer in using these funds in that property?
no, if we even identify some of these sites as a target site, there's already development interest in it, they don't have to take advantage of the program.
So they don't have a responsibility to do anything additional to meet the requirements of the state.
If they choose not to take advantage and be kind of put it into this program and take advantage of the phase 1s and 2s, that can be done with that money. Right? They want to do it all out of their pocket, and they're still located in our catchment area, they're not involved with the program, they're not required to adhere to those standards.
Anything further? We need a vote on that, all right? Yes. All in favor? Opposed?
I'm a note.
Mike's a no. That's passed. Number 3, authorizing advertisement for bids for the printing of the Greene County 2024 travel guide and travel map.
Lennon.
True. Lennon, True, and Handel. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's passed. Number 4 is designating official tourism promotion agency. Rivera.
Lennon.
Lennon. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's passed. Number 5, authorizing application and pledging matching funds. I Love New York Tourism Matching Funds Program. Rivera and Handel. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's passed. Anything else to come before economic development tourism?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Handel and Rivera? Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you, James and Warren.
Okay, I'd like to open government operations at 6:44. We have 4 resolutions. But first, I'm going to invite Director Ward up to give us a briefing on the senior citizen and disability tax break exemption.
As I reported in June, you saw the impact from a number of things that transpired in 22 in carrying into the 23 year. So I don't want to reiterate that, but I also told you that we'd be coming back to you. The state in their budget redefined the definition of income for both the 467, which is your person 65 years of age and over, in short, senior citizens, or the 459C, which is persons with disabilities and limited incomes. So tonight we need to look at a couple of things in the definition. I don't want to bore you with what the old definition is because it takes up a half a sheet of paper. But there were a couple of things that were allowed by local option, unreimbursed medical and prescription drug expenses, which our county does not have that local option. Some of the towns have opted that in one village and one school district. And veterans disability compensation, if it was allowed by local option, none of our towns use that. So the new definition of income, which is supposed to be, quote, simpler, is basically your federally adjusted gross income. That's the start, FADGI. There are 5 additions or deductions to that. 2 of them are given by the state, no local option needed. It's the addition of tax exempt interest, which was in the old definition, and the addition of loss limitations. If your FADGI was reduced by business or other losses, the applicant can no longer include more than $3,000 for any category and may not exceed a $15,000 cap. So you could have 5 losses in a given income tax year, you know, a farm loss, a business loss, some other loss. But they can't total more than 15, and each individual one cannot be more than 3,000. Those are not optional. The 3 options that would require local option: 1, deduct taxable IRA distributions. So the local option would be to not deduct it. It's already in the old definition. The second would be to add Social Security benefits that are not included in FADGI. There are some untaxed Social Security benefits that may not be included in your federally adjusted income. So the local option would be to not add those. And 3 is deduct medical and prescription drug expenses not covered. And again, that's by local option, and it was in the old. So I polled our local assessors because they're the ones in the trenches with our senior citizens and our low income. And it was an adamant across the board of all 14 towns. Well, I heard back from 12 out of the 14, a no to all 3 local options. They said, unless they already had the medical prescription, they would keep it, but they didn't want to adjust differently than what the state had defined in the new FADGI. The concern with the new definition is because it's simplified, the concern is that actually people's income might go, they may be looking poorer than they were being reported previously. So they're afraid that after the big impact of the increase last year, where we took it to 34,000, you know, adjusted for the COLA increases over the previous 3 years that we hadn't been able to. And the second senior mailing, which to give you an example, I reported to you that we had 199 new seniors. That number actually turned out to be 217. So that impact, they feel, let's let it ride on these local options for a year. We can address these at any time in the future. This would be looking at their 22 income for the 24 year, because you don't file in 23. You're not required to file until April 15th. So exemption administration is March 1st. So I'm bringing those in front of you for your thoughts on those. And then the second thing is the COLA increase. Traditionally, since I've been director and even prior, we've raised the cap. We went to 34,000 after raising it in 2019. In 2019, we went to 29,000. The state didn't adjust it until 2022 that we could adjust it. So we did last fall. We looked at the COLA increase. The state maximum is 50,000, and that's at the high end. I mean, so when I say we have full sliding scale, it's 34,000 to 42,400, or 50, the state would be 50,000 to 58,400. SSI COLA got announced the other day. It's 3.2%. So if you straight math, 3.2% on 34,000 would be $1,088. Let's round it to 1,100. We could look at doing a COLA increase. So again, I told my assessors, 5, and this is kind of, I'm gonna qualify this statement. 5 said no to doing a COLA increase this year. 4 said, 4 towns said yes, but it's the same assessor that assesses all 4 towns. So 5 versus 1 as far as I'm concerned. 3 wanted to wait and see what we do, and 2 no responses. So just to address that, for you guys to make an informed decision, the total full market value of this county between 22 and 23 was roughly 11.9 million in 23 versus 10.2 billion in 22. Number of exemptions in just the 467 are 459, the limited income, and that has stayed pretty steady over the last 15 years, as I reported to you in June. The 467 exemptions, we jumped from 830 to 1,047. That's like a 20 some odd percent increase. The town of Catskill got the biggest increase. I think she reported to me, I didn't do the actual math behind it, but I think 37% increase in her senior exemptions this year. So the full market value of those exemptions in 2022, they were 68.6 million in full market value exempted. In 2023, it's 106 million. The average full market value of that exemption to our senior would be 82,000 or 82.7, or 82,750 versus 101,000 in 23. The percent of value exempted across the entire roll of this county. So this is looking just at the county exemption, not looking at a microcosm of a town or village or a school district. 0.89% of our total roll value is exempted in 2023 for just the 467 exemption. Just a hair under 1% of our total value is being exempted. 77% of the exemptions are at the full 50%. So that means that the seniors really need this money. Less than 7% fall at the margin below the 20%, which the way the law was instituted, it went 20 to the 50% exemption in increments of 5 and 10s. And then they added a statute for 15 and 10. And then another year they added a statute for 5 for full sliding scale. So only 7% of our exemptions would possibly be in jeopardy. And that's being very liberal all the way up to 20%, where they would possibly fall off the roll this year as far as seeing any type of assistance. So what is the impact to county tax being redistributed? We, at the full value tax rates for this year, we're redistributing a little over, not quite $250,000, 225,000. In 24, with the projected full market value of the current budget, the way it stands, it'd be 287,000. So that's a $62,000 in tax dollars that are being redistributed to every other taxpayer in Greene County. I think I reported to you that the average county tax increase across the board to an average single family home in Greene County would be $1.72. The biggest impact, as I reported, was the town of Catskill. So an average single family home in the town of Catskill is looking at over a $21 increase to support these number of exemptions that came about in 2023. And if you're in the village, you're looking just under $29 to support those exemptions. So what's in front of you is typically this time of year, I report to you about we want to do a COLA increase, or don't we? We address it by calling for a public hearing. We put that resolution on in November, have the public hearing in December, and that way our assessors are ready to move forward with the assessment cycle in January and February for March 1st tax and status date. So what was on the table is the 3 local options and a potential COLA increase. Towns are basically saying no to any of it for this year. Let it ride for a year, let it play out, and deal with it next year if we find that the fallout is big. So it's your call.
Why would the towns, or what's the justification, do you think, or did you hear, on no on the three options?
Because they felt that one of the issues is that was money earned before you became a senior, so why are we hitting it? That would be in regards to your taxable IRA distributions. You get to deduct them, and in the old formula, you got to deduct those anyway. And then in regards to the medical and prescription, it's an administration nightmare. So the ones that don't have it, don't want it. The ones that have it would love to get rid of it, but they don't know how. They don't want to upset the apple cart. And so take a town of Catskill where the county doesn't have med and prescription, the village does, the town does, the school district doesn't. They have to calculate four different income amounts for those seniors. So I think with the exception of one town was in favor of he may, and that happened to be Wyndham, said that he may present to his town board to add that. But he felt he was also the one that expounded on the other two options on the additional Social Security. No, it's money, that's something you earned long before you became a senior. So that's the reason. The reason for non-COLA increase is they feel they got hit so bad this year, they don't want to take that hit again this year. They'd rather let it ride for a year and see what happens. The town taxpayer. They're having a hard time justifying to the other taxpayer that, I'm going to increase your taxes $29 to support your seniors, an additional $29 than what you paid this year. So
I would think on the medical, would be a big burden on municipalities to determine what was reimbursable and what wasn't.
it's and I've heard horror stories, not just our county, but assessor who used to do 4 towns, that he's the one who, when that option became available years ago, he's the one who got the 4 towns that he assessed, literally has people show up with a shoebox of receipts.
It's all privileged and protected. They can't even get
That's why I have a hard time reporting on this. I can speculate all I want, but I couldn't do a deep dive into this because I can't look at their incomes to say. I asked these assessors to do that deep dive into at least, pick a percentage, pick 5 or 6 of your seniors that you now have, run them through the new formula, and this is what they came back. So all I'm asking is whether you want me to come back with a resolution next month or not.
From my perspective, I don't think that I've been approached by anyone that said I don't think you should be given the exemption to these seniors or increasing it. But I did get asked, how come the city of Albany is giving 50% and Greene County is only giving 34 or 37?
50,000 versus 34,000.
Yeah. So
yeah, and it has to do with the economics.
I think that, from my perspective, I would be more inclined to say yes to the COLA increase, not so much to the.
I don't know that the COLA increase is going to be, if we did increase it, that $1,000 or $1,100 would be that big of an impact, but I can't tell you that.
Well, I think too that, seniors are probably getting hit harder than most of the population.
Yeah, that 3.2% gets eaten up with what? 10% of that is Medicaid in its own. So right off the bat, they're behind the eight ball.
Seniors are behind the eight ball.
But that's your decisions whether you want me to come back with a resolution for a public hearing.
I don't know, my feeling is last year we did a big increase in COLA.
Well, they hadn't done it in 3 years. The state allowed it in 3 years.
Correct.
That's why it was so big.
I don't know, my feeling was people let it go a year and then next year.
And before I became director, the previous director changed the way that this body acted on increasing the limit. They went every other year. I was the one who, when I became director, looked at it and said, wow, we're really hurting these seniors every other year. Not by a lot, but enough that there was people coming on and off the exemption at the low end of the scale. You know, it's a 5%, you know, somebody losing their 5% exemption, is that enough to warrant that? I think it was also a matter of they didn't like the administration having to administer that. I've offered my services to help them out any way I can, but it's a lot of that information. It's protected information that I can't look at.
I would be okay with the, hold on. I don't know, the rest of the board thinks.
Yeah, I'm a no. Give it a year.
I mean, I'm okay either way, but I think we hadn't done it in the last 3 years, but last year we did go up, what, $5,000?
$5,000.
Yeah, so.
And,
So, I mean,
and I can tell you across the river, who didn't adopt, they stayed at the 29. Her projection, I don't know if they finally adopted, I haven't spoken to Suzette lately, but they were going right around that. Our numbers are very comparable, between 900 and 1,000. Recipients, and they were looking at 34 to 35,000. So our numbers were very comparable. The cities and counties that opted to go 50,000, they're the same ones who, when the law first came out, went right to the maximum, right? I can't answer why this body never went with the maximum right off the bat. I'm sure there was some big analysis done that said that you were gonna have X number of seniors and you were gonna shift this much of the tax, and we don't want to do that. So what's a good number? I don't think it's a big deal to adjust it on an annual basis myself. You know, it's a resolution, a public hearing, and
I agree with Pat. I think it should go up every year just a little bit, so you're not doing that $5,000 a year, 3 years down the road.
well, that was how I've done it.
Right,
For
I think it's a good
since
idea.
2016.
Incremental versus.
Right.
2016.
No,
I've done it.
inflation has affected the people paying taxes right now who are working also.
And
Yeah, but
and
not
it's
just
affecting the
retired.
people
Yeah,
that
but-
pay taxes their whole life and they're retired and they can't afford it. You
Lot-
can't forget, you're
there's a lot
gonna
of
be
people
old
in Green
someday
County
too.
Depend on this, and I say go with it.
And if you're gonna look at it on a county level, Harry, I agree with
I'll
this.
tell you that.
But you also come from a town who is not even at the 29.
No, I agree with the chairman.
And I've heard from towns that they're not, even if we go and increase it for county purposes, they're not gonna increase it for towns. So, and there's no, because each taxing jurisdiction has to do their own. So you got school districts, we're all over the map as far as it is. As much as I try to get them all to be consistent and adopt what we do, and a lot listen to what we have to say as a body. They respect what you guys build site. I think a lot of them will hop on board if we do an increase. But I also know for a fact that I got one assessor that says where that town supervisor said, no, absolutely no, and went to the other side of the aisle in that town and got the same answer. No, absolutely no, we're not doing it.
I think you gotta take care of your older people yourself.
Yeah, you're gonna see seniors that'll fall off with just the increase, bullet increase in social security. You'll have people that'll fall off.
So a very minor number of ones we currently have, if any. We don't know because I can't look at their income.
Yeah, but our taxes aren't going up this year.
Well, our levies now.
Levy's not going up, but if you go up and you get more exemptions, you're just.
Actually, there's
distributed
7 towns that are
62,000.
seeing a good reduction on average or whatever. And therefore, they're getting a break on their taxes already because of the people in those towns. Or these seniors, correct?
I don't understand.
Yes.
They're getting a break
The
because.
7 that will have a rate reduction, that'll affect the seniors by inertia.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, but the ones that aren't.
The 7 are gonna go up. So.
I don't look at it as seniors asking for a handout or anything. I mean, these are people who have worked their whole entire life and now they have retired. And I do think that we don't do enough for our seniors.
And the comment from the town of Catskill, and this is pre any of this, but when they saw, They alone had almost 100 new senior exemptions administered this year. That's not counting, there was only a handful that got denied due to income limit when they came in. And so think about that. You double your number of exemptions in your town. But she said the people that came in, they were the people that should have been getting this thing for years. They didn't know about it. That second postcard that we spent $10,000 on mailing to, everybody under the age of 65 that didn't need it.
I didn't get.
Yeah, you did. I'm telling you, you did. I'll make sure. I'm gonna pull up the PDF of it tomorrow and send it to you, because I have a PDF of 10,000 postcards. But yeah, so, and that legislation has not changed as much as we've begged as county and towns to the state legislature and that to come up with a different formula for us to not spend that money and market it to the people we should be mailing it to. It hasn't moved, hasn't budged. So we're going to be spending another 10 grand this year mailing postcard. Well, the towns are spending 10 grand.
So, I mean, what's our feeling here? We're gonna go.
We've got 4 options, right?
Yeah.
You got COLA and 3 options?
COLA and the 3 options.
No, I know that, but I mean, what are we doing?
Oh, I don't have a motion.
I think we need to just think about it.
No, he wants.
Well, he wants to run resolution.
Now.
I think if you want, you can all feel free to call me or email me with what you feel, and I can come back with a resolution next month to hold a public hearing.
Well, I would make a motion that we go ahead with COLA at that percentage, at that average, whatever, 1.8 to.
Well, 3.2% is $1,088. So do you want to go with $1,000 increase or an $1,100 increase?
I'll second that.
And then, but leave the other 3 alone.
Yeah, I'm very firm on my idea to leave the other 3 off.
And the town's supposed to say no.
just
I agree with
creates
that.
a nightmare of paperwork for assessors. But I'm fine with COLA.
That would be my motion.
So we're on the floor, let's vote.
This is government apps, so only the committee members.
Go ahead, Mr. Chair.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
What is the resolution that you're proposing?
I will put a resolution on next month
For a
for a
public
public
hearing.
hearing to raise the COLA.
Okay.
1,100.
So it's a resolution for a public hearing.
Correct.
Well, that's not I'll put that resolution on in November.
It's to bring, it's to add.
No, it's just telling Ray.
That's it.
You can still vote.
We don't have to have a resolution. We're just telling Ray right now to next month, bring a resolution.
To show
Yeah.
it.
Don't waste your time if it's not.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
For the COLA only, for the
Yeah,
COLA only.
I don't want Ray wasting a bunch of time if 12 people are gonna turn it down anyway. But you know what I mean? That's what I.
Yeah.
Avoid him wasting a bunch of time. There's 12 of us to say, no, I don't. do it.
Okay, so I'll bring back a resolution next month. Call for a public hearing. Thanks.
Thank you, Ray.
Thanks, Ray.
Thanks, Ray.
Ray.
Sorry.
Piece of cake. Piece of cake. Thank you.
Oh,
I got a conference next.
first proposed action item is a resolution supporting Senate Bill S 7645 that repeals certain provisions of the executive law establishing a fee for background checks on certain firearm and ammunition purchases, and I'll move that.
I'll second it.
Is that a committee approval? On the second.
Yes.
Yeah.
Second.
Committee approval.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is anyone opposed? Number 2, ratifying an agreement for advanced payment and authorization for Edward Kaplan, the Greene County Attorney, to execute closing papers on behalf of the County of Greene.
Lennon.
Overbought.
Lennon and Overbought.
And just a little explanation,
Yeah.
where is this
Thank you.
little parcel?
Well, it's for the Champlain Power Express.
No,
No.
this is on Main Street.
No, this is Main Street Catskill by the courthouse.
Oh, okay, I thought
Pull
this
up
was,
a lawn, they're moving it further back and replacing.
Just to the left where the new Lafayette sign is now placed, it's an existing pole. It's gonna be changed out.
So why does the state need that land?
They took it around to, it's part of their project is their traffic control devices, their controllers, which are no longer red. If you notice at the intersection of Bridge and Main, often that light is out because there's no feedback. So they're just replacing it all to today's specs. They need to put a more substantial pole a little further back to not interfere with that stone wall in front of the courthouse.
Gotcha.
Okay, I don't have a lot to say about it.
Yeah,
They took it.
Took it.
This is a done deal. And do you know though, are they gonna knock that stone wall down to make it work?
To avoid that.
Okay.
I'm not sure if we'll lose the tree or. It's about 8 feet.
So basically, it's a done deal already. I mean,
It's an appropriation. It's the only thing, by agreeing to take the advance payment, we just get the money up front. That does, we're now waiving our right to bring an action in the court of claims seeking more money. Maybe, I doubt it's really what's much more. It's about the size of the generator.
Gotcha.
So we had a first and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Is anyone opposed? Okay, number 3, establishing equalization rates. Martinez. Second. Linger. All in favor?
Aye.
Is anyone opposed? Number 4, correcting assessment roll, Town of New Baltimore. Jacqueline Saville, tax map ID number 14.00-3-23. Linger. 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 All in favor?
Aye.
Is anyone opposed? Okay, does anybody have anything else to come before government operations tonight?
Can I get a second to the first resolution? I'd like to put myself.
The background check?
Yes.
I had the whole committee as well.
Oh,
Okay. Is there anything else? I need a motion to close.
Motion to close.
Thank you.
Still, we'll get through this. I gotta forget it. This first? First?
Yes.
To the podium.
Oh, there it is.
I am.
Matt, you got your camera out?
Here we go. Matt, get your picture.
Tomatoes.
Turn the thermostat on.
I didn't touch it.
It's cold.
I didn't touch it.
It's freezing.
No,
That's why he's dressed up tonight.
I didn't touch it.
good evening.
What, you have your tomatoes and throw?
Well, go
I just
ahead.
brought eggs.
My colleagues on the Greene County Legislature. Over here now, my pleasure to present to you this evening the tentative budget for fiscal year 2024. As has been the case in recent years, the property tax levy will stay flat in this proposal. Since fiscal year 2020, the overall property tax levy has remained unchanged, yet we still continue to advance responsible budgets that reflect the values of our community. Buildings on those post accomplishments, this year's budget truly makes a statement to our working residents. The success of the budget is that it continues the legislature's goal of providing financial stability and continues a valued service. Even with an increase in the expenditure levels, our ability to maintain a sub-zero increase to the property tax levy must be applauded. To advance this budget, I kindly request that the legislature set a public hearing for Monday, October 30th, 23, to be held at the Catskill Middle School Auditorium at 6 p.m. Public hearing will include a presentation by county staff on the budget, allow for community feedback. Hear that, Matt? As is illustrated in the 24 budget documentation, we have planned for accommodated the impact
of New York State's policy. Although we're able to deal with the impact this year, we must question how long such increases can be absorbed. Furthermore, the state must respond to their own budget deficit of 39 billion, which can lead to billion, excuse me, they're correct. That's wrong. Which can lead to them forcing new cost shifts and unfunded mandates towards counties in the future. Our conservative budgeting and fiscally responsibility judgment have constantly enabled the county to close out fiscal years with a surplus. Because of such action, fund balance are carried and appropriated into further future budgets. Additionally, we have been more proactive in planning for large expenses, budgeting for such items over multiple years to build up a balance and cover the necessary purchases. This practice has reduced expenses, spiked for items that are within our control. Our ability to maintain service levels in additional fiscal years without increasing the property tax levy will be contingent on maintaining these fund balance levels will determine usage thereof. While cash levels may seem high now, a significant amount is simply reserved for predetermined expenses that will occur in the near future. We're petitioned to negate outside risks that could be on the horizon while still investing in the success of our operations. So therefore, thank you. I'm done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I'll provide refreshments in room 47 of Catskill Middle School as well.
Is that your school?
My new classroom.
Now we'll continue on. Ready? Now we'll call Finance Committee to order. Several proposed items, Matthew, and we'll start. Have a bond resolution of the first one. Bond resolution of the County of Greene, New York, amending a certain private bond resolution authorizing the issuance of $25 million serial bonds to finance construction of a new Justice Center building. Linger?
Overbought.
I have a question. Why do we have to even do this resolution?
Because the
We're not
project.
issuing more.
No, the project amount is increasing even though the bonding amount is not. So the resolution covers both aspects. It doesn't change, the bond will they remain the same, the equation to repay the bond remains the same.
What's current bond rates now?
Well, this will be short-term bonds for up to 5 years, so they're
BAN,
BANs, bond anticipation notes first, which are 1-year instruments that have to be renewed, principal payment within 24 months, and then permanent financing at year 5. So I don't have an exact amount for you, probably in the mid-3s on the bands. I couldn't project to you what a bond payment might be in 5 years.
Just today. What was that? Said yields have been down for 2 days.
Well, 5 years is a long way away.
I'm probably
Almost burning in certain parts of the world.
Stop it.
Is this replacing something else that we already had?
Yes, you have an existing resolution with a $25 million bond on a project at $25,200,000.
Oh, you're authorizing to spend $28.8 million on this Justice Center.
That is correct. You are increasing
it
the
is.
project expense by the fact that the bid documents have not been received today.
This is not awarding the project yet, though.
No.
This is just.
That's correct. Each individual contract will need to come to you in the future.
Any other questions?
Yeah,
Comment.
so we haven't even picked anybody. I mean, we have the design.
Oh, no, we've bid it. We have low bidders.
We're going,
I understand that, but I mean, the 25 million, we have a set rate already, yes?
no. Because I won't go to the bond market probably till the spring. And it'll be a short-term 1 year, actually, the first one will probably be a 6 or 8 month BAN, because what I always try to do is align the principal payments to the rear end of the fiscal year, so probably a December 1st amortization schedule, because that way your biggest payment in the year is with the principal payment. So we sit on that money all year long rather than paying it out in January of a fiscal year before we've received all of our tax levy collection from the towns. So the first ban, I'd probably, from a cash flow, I might issue a $10 million ban first, move it to December 1st, then December 1st, renew that 10 million plus, who knows, 10 million. Do it again the next year up to the 25 million. And then by year 5, I renew, and then I take it to permanent financing. So short-term bonds are very, very inexpensive because there's no risk for the bank. It's going to be paid for in a year. So it keeps the rate low, and hopefully in the 5-year period, the economy is going to settle, or we're not going to have a 7%. We're not going to have a 7% bond, but if we do at some point in the future, you just rebond and you refinance the building and save money at the tail end.
Who are we getting the bonds from?
Don't know. The first ones, I would suspect, they're going to be fairly, if we only did $10 million first, probably the local banks would bid on it. Once I go to permanent financing, then you'll get the big houses, you get the Roosevelt Crosses, and you'll get Bank of America and those types of institutional banks will do a long, they'll take the long term because it's fixed. A 1 year note, they probably don't, the institutional accounts probably don't want to handle a 1 year account. It's too small, there's not enough margin for it. And they can't retail it. Typically, the retailing of a bond is done and then it's sold on the secondary markets thereafter.
So would it be better to like hypothetically roll it over every 3 years and keep your money at a local institution?
Well, I have to take it to permanent within 5 years. So I can do a ban up to 5 years, but principal payments have to begin in 24 months at the 24-month mark. So the first 2 years, you're only paying interest on short-term borrowings. Then by the 3rd year, you're really fixing yourself into what the amortization will be. From a principal standpoint, the unknown will be the interest rate. But from there on out.
Any other questions?
Yeah, so this is no different. Our architects are getting a percentage of the total build costs. Engineers, so the build cost goes up $3.8 million. Why wouldn't they say, wait, hold on, maybe we got to rebid this? Why would they care to? They're gonna get more money in their pocket. And
The construction manager is a fixed fee.
the architect gets a percentage.
Yes, but the architect's.
Architect designed this monstrosity, colossal, beautiful building, and now it's gonna cost $28.8 million.
So there's 5 phases to the architect's contract. We're done with 3 of them. And those are at 1 interest rate. The more money the building is, the lower the interest rate. So the last 2 phases will be at a different rate. I think I did a quick calculation. I think the adjustment to the architect is 35,000 to 40,000 at the end of the day. Out of I forget the number, it was maybe 1.6 was the architect fee. But that's why it's done by phases, because you don't know what the cost is going to be until you go out to bid, and then it's adjusted only for those 2 phases.
I'll leave everyone else to figure it out.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
All right. Number 2, ratifying an agreement for advance payment and authorizing Edward Kaplan, the Greene County Attorney, to execute closing papers on behalf of the County of Greene. Hobart. Davis. I'd like to also second it.
Blake seconded too.
All All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, that's carried. Thank you. Number 3, approving capital project Columbia Greene Community College critical and emergency repairs.
Davis.
Overblock.
Davis, Overblock. Favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. 4 is authorizing bids and authorizing contracts, Cahoe Take Reserve amending capital project number 132.
Davis.
Lennon.
Davis, Mr. Lennon, seconds it.
And Leg.
Mr. Chairman, oh, who else? Oh,
Leg.
Daryl. Oh,
You're
sorry.
not gonna pay attention when I talk.
Yeah, well, you just turn around, pay attention. Look straight ahead.
Yell there.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried.
Opposed.
1 opposition.
2.
2, excuse me. 5, authorizing submission of U.S. Environmental Protection Agency collusion. Coalition. Right, no collusion here.
Coalition.
That's what you got to practice, say collusion.
Roll tape back, please.
Assessment grant.
I got a motion?
Overblock.
I second it.
Davis,
Thank you.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, that's carried.
Opposed.
6, authorize application and pledging matching funds. I love New York Tourism Matching Funds Program.
Overblock.
It's overall. I'll
David.
second it, or Mr. Davis will second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, that's carried. 7, authorize the chairman of the Greene County Legislature to assign the Early Childhood Learning Center lease agreement to Community Development Institute Head Start.
Davis.
Mr. Davis.
How much is that, Mr. Chairman?
Linger. I don't know offhand. What's the question? The lease on the,
What's the lease on it?
it's $1 a year.
Yeah,
$1?
we don't own the building, we own the land that it sits in. This was done many years ago.
For the children. And
Who was the motion on that? Linger was the second?
Davis.
Davis.
Davis, Mr. Linger. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, that's carried. 8, authorizing bids for refuse removal. 24.
Davis again.
Davis.
Leg,
Mr. Lake.
did you hear that?
That's what you gotta
Speak
do.
up, will you?
That's what you gotta do.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, that's carried. I should speak up any other time. Number 9, authorizing the county highway and solid waste superintendent to appoint C.D. Smith as consultant for engineering design services for the county Route 6 bridge over West Kill, bin number 3-20125-0, town election, bin number 1762.64. Mr. Lake, would you like to introduce?
I would, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Who would like to second?
I'll second it.
So, all second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, that's carried. 10, authorize a conference attendant, Wendy Johnson, FNP, DC, and Katrina Laurie, Greene County Family Planning.
Lennon.
Mr. Leonard.
Overblock.
Ms. Overball, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, that's carried. 11, establishing equalization rates,
Davis.
Mr. Davis. I'll second it, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, that's also carried. 12, establishing capital project number 142, 2023 State Homeland Security Grant Program.
Lennon.
Mr. Leonard.
Davis.
Mr. Davis seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's also carried. Number 13, establishing grant capital project 143, 2023 Emergency Management Performance Grant.
Davis.
David.
Lennon.
Mr. Leonard, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Also carried. 14, budget amendment, capital project 128, exit 21.
Overblock.
Davis, Ms. Overball, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried.
Opposed?
That's the gas line.
Right.
Oh, this one is?
And I did ask Warren to put something out. I know the Porcupine Soup had an article about the project itself, but I did ask Warren if he could put something together from us, so we are putting some.
A press release.
Right, instead of just people sharing the Porcupine Soup, they could share green government information.
We vote on that?
I have a first and a second, and then I get a vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
When they, in that contract, are they gonna be reimbursing us as people hook up to that gas line?
There
There's a
is,
provision.
there is language for expansion.
I'm told by the IDA that
Should.
it usually doesn't result where in the timeframe, if somebody hooks up, but there is a provision in there. What I wanted to add was the IDA is paying for their piece within the, their commerce park. So they've already executed a contract for the piece that they're gonna pay for. We pay for the full line from Jefferson Heights.
Under the thruway,
Correct.
To their
All the way to exit 21 West. From the old Stewart's under 23B, that section, that's also considered a main. The IDA is paying for that out of their budget.
But to answer Mike's question, there is language for expansion, which
they
we,
should be reimbursing us. Anybody that taps in
that is correct.
and Central Hudson receives monies from the use of gas, we should be reimbursed.
There is language in the contract for that. We have the same thing with the county jail. Nothing's happened at that section of 9W, but there is language for reimbursement for future use. Of course, pending where the state is on expansion of natural gas lines anyways. But I guess there is base language.
We voted for that, right?
Yes.
Okay, moving right along. 15, budget amendment, stop DWI, BTSC grant. Davis. Rivera, Mr. Rivera seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. 16, correcting assessment roll, Town of Baltimore, Jacqueline Sobolinski. Oh, hey, oh, you like that? Tax map ID number 14.00-3-23.
Linger.
Linger, Mr. Hobart, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, that's carried. 17, authorization to pay claims, highway.
Rivera.
Thomas and Mr. Rivera, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, that's carried. 18, authorization to pay claims. Martinez, who'd like to second? Mr. Hobart. All in favor of that?
Aye.
Opposed, that's carried. Okay, that's the end of the resolutions. We have tonight, what is it, treasurer? Probably got some good news, hopefully. Peter?
Well, if you look at your report, you'll notice everything is down. The holiday season is going to get worse. So we decided that collections are down. See that payments are down. And that delinquent taxes are up. No big surprises. Happens every year. The only thing that's holding here is sales tax. And significantly, because a number of counties, probably half of them, saw significant decreases in their sales tax revenue for this period. We're still holding there. So we also tell you that I'm done chasing interest rates. I've now turned to the way that the banks would chase me with interest rates. I have told the banks that I'm not calling them, I'm not giving them a warning. We need to take care of Greene County. We need to do that without me reminding you that somebody's going to pay me 5.1% and you're still giving me 4%. Don't expect, once I make the deal and do the collateral agreement, it's over. So we move now, we will be moving $10 million in Montauk, and we have $10 million in Kentucky. And those are for terms of 17 months, which is pretty good as far as I'm concerned.
Take it what we can get.
A lot of unhappy people last week. That's the way life is.
Any other questions for Peter? Thank you. Anything else come before finance?
I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Adjourn, thank you.
I need a second.
I leg over about.
Is that the important item? Did everybody sign the?